Okay, hello, 8 seconds. I don't know where my screen went. Trying to get things all set up. Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. And yay, I am on here, so that means you can make your comments and I'll be able to see them. So, as always, what are you working on today? Did you guys have a great weekend, and what are you working on today? So we're going to do things, some new stuff coming up in the month of September. I'm trying to make a schedule so that Tuesdays will be quilting. We'll talk quilting and quilting tips. So if you're a brand new quilter, you've ever thought about getting into quilting, you don't know where to start, you want to know some new tips and hints, well, Tuesday most likely will be your day. Now that doesn't mean I won't share other things, but that's what I'm going to concentrate on in the month of September is Tuesdays we're going to talk quilting. Wednesday looks like maybe gadgets and other things, so we'll talk tools, that type of thing. Thursday, I think Thursdays I'm going to try really hard to get Mike on a regular basis on Thursdays, and Fridays we'll do embroidery tips and hints and stuff. So that's my plan. I share it with you. We'll see how it's going to work out. So hopefully you'll get some good information. So today, you love tools. Yes, I do too. I love tools. So, and I do have other things along the way to share with you. Okay, so number one, if you were in the, if you have an order for Battleizer, Mike just texted me. It just came in and will be shipped back out this afternoon UPS. So, if you were waiting on the Battleizer and you know who you are, well, it's in and out the door. That came, just came in, and it came separate from the other R&K stuff. So that just came in. I still have to get our All Things Jolly, which, oh goodness, it's underneath here. I'll show you in a minute. We'll go back to that. I still have to get that on the calendar today. I do have on the calendar and an email that'll go out to everyone that, hello Grand Jenny, you are here. Everybody, let me know if you're on, where you're at, and, oh good, yeah, Karen's on, and Grand Jenny, and Colleen, yay! Eileen, and Jane Joyce, good, Jamie, I am so happy to have comments today. It's on my phone. One of these days I'll get it figured out how to do all of these things on all places, but, okay. We're at the first of the month, so I got to tell you all of these cool things that we've got going on, and you will get an email. So be watching. You're going to get some emails from me. Remember, I only send an email if I've got something to say. So sometimes you'll get several. Other times you won't get any for a while. So I don't inundate you with emails. We don't sell your list. We don't share it. It's just for us, and I want to make sure that and if you don't want to get emails anymore, and this is with anybody or any company that sends you emails all the time, down at the bottom of the email, there's always an unsubscribe, or you have control to say, I don't want your emails anymore. Okay, so you always have control of that. So the email you're going to get today, and I keep looking off to the side, I keep looking off because I'm looking at can we still attend All Things Jolly if we bought different? Yes, because it's going to be a class. There's going to be a small fee for it, and you're going to get all of the tips and hints and stuff. So yes, whatever. If you attended the Hoop Sisters and you bought a different project and you've never done it before, yes, it'll be focused on All Things Jolly, but I'll answer all the questions anyway. And a lot of it will be similar tips and hints with Hoop Sisters, because that's a whole brand new way of quilting in your embroidery hoop. And speaking of which, everybody's got a different method. And I'm for one that I love to be able to look at all the different ways, sometimes mix and match and find what works best for me, and then I can share it with you. So with that being said, we have a free event with our dime on October the 3rd. Okay, that's October the 3rd. And it's from, let's see, I'm looking at it on the screen, 11 to 12:30 Central Time. I have it on our calendar, 12 to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's the time I always use. And then we figure it the other way. It's a shop and learn, but it's going to be quilt as you go with dime. So they do things a little bit differently. It's a free event. I highly recommend that you sign up and attend if you want to see, you've got an embroidery machine, you want to learn how to do this. I would sign up. Okay, we sponsor it. We need people to sign up to participate. And yes, it is called Shop and Learn. You will have the opportunity to shop dime products. Of course, if it's free, you still, they do their sales thing. That's just the way it goes. But they also give you a free design. So if you check on our Facebook, or not, well, it's on Facebook too, Facebook, and on our website, go ahead and register. We appreciate it because the more people we get, the happier they are with us, the more that they'll do events for us. So go ahead and sign up for it. Like I said, it's not going to cost you anything. You're going to get a free design. You can, and if you can't be there during that time, you'll be able to rewatch it for 48 hours afterwards. Okay, so that's fair. That's our one of our quarterly events that we do that that we're giving to you. So that, and since we're on the subject of dime, let me show you a new dime package of products that came in. Wicked Wonder Vinyl Applique Kit. Okay, this is for those of you who love Halloween. Check out those little witches boots. That's a free design download. If you if you are interested and you purchase it, it's you get a sheet of, this is the scissor heat transfer vinyl, and this is the one where you can applique, either sewing applique, embroidery applique, satin stitch down, and then it tears away. So it saves that that trimming, and we'll work on a demo on that another day. But in the package, there's light green, there's purple, there's black, and there's copper. So you get 4 different sheets. Look at that lime green. And then you get 4 spools of the thread too. So you have 4 spools of thread, and that is black, neon green, and orchid, and then your Kingstar metallic orange. So we just got a few of those in, if it's of something that's of interest to you. Okay, let me see, a couple other teasers, because I'm busy stitching over the weekend too. I have the first 2, and I love the way that it has turned out. The first 2 embroidery designs in Kimber Bell's nativity scene pillow. Now this could be a wall hanging as well, or a pillow. It's got the holes for your lights. There's lights if you get the embellishment kit. You could glue on rhinestones if you wanted to. But this is the first 2 blocks I've got stitched out. So we'll be sharing more with those later on as well. Okay. Let me see. All right, so I said that we were talking quilting and getting started. Where do I start? On my quilting. Okay, I got a package, I got a kit, I got fabric. You're out shopping for fabric. There's all kinds of quilts that jelly rolls, which are the strips, the 2.5-inch strips. You can make projects out of those. There's sizes. So I thought we'd start with sizes of fabric. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you, a little bit of that first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the tools, and then I'm going to show you what to do when you first get your fabric. Okay, Now, when you're in shopping at a store, you see bolts and bolts of fabric, okay? The majority of your quilting fabric is 100% cotton, and if good quality, for whatever, buy good quality. If you buy something that feels stiff as a board and you buy it in a big box store, let me tell you what happens when you wash it. All that stiff starch sizing goes away and the fabric just kind of falls in a pile and it doesn't last. That kind of fabric is good for short-term projects, but if you're quilting, you want to have the best materials, just like you would in cooking, the best ingredients that you can afford. It's going to come out with the best outcome. Okay? So, a lot of times, either in the middle of the shop or on the wall above the racks where the fabric is, you'll see all these little pieces, these little bundles folded up. This is what we call a fat quarter. So, a fat quarter is, they take half a yard of fabric. Width of fabric is WOF. So when you're looking in your instructions and you see WOF and you say, what the heck is that? Width of fabric. That's generally anywhere between 42 and 45 inches. It'll have a salvage on the edge. See, like this. It'll have a salvage on the edge. No, we do not cut the salvage off of our fat quarters. It's left on there. But width of fabric is the width. Now sometimes you get wider fabrics, sometimes you find some that are 54, some of your, like your linens and canvases and some of those kind of fabrics, but the majority of your quilting fabrics are going to be 42 to 45 inches, about 44. Wide backs, that's what we call, what we use on the back of the quilt so you don't have to piece it. Wide backs, same type of fabric, a lot of the same colors, but a wide back is 108 to 120. It can be varying widths depending on, on the brand. Okay, so anyway, a fat quarter. So you see all of those folded up. They're great to pick up at the shops. You can pick up an assortment of them. You can make lots of different things out of them. There's quilts, there's books. I actually pulled one of my old books and it says Fat Quarter Fun. I'm going to be talking to you about some of the information in the book. But a fat quarter is a half a yard. Look at this. It's a nice piece of fabric. It's a half a yard and then that half is cut. So you notice there's only salvage on one end. So they cut the half yard and then that 44 cut in half, so that generally your fat quarters will run 18 by 22, give or take a little bit. It's not an exact science because it's cut the width of the fabric and the salvages are left on. They're included. That's normal. Okay, so when you see in your your patterns and books and stuff and it tells you so many fat quarters or fat quarters can be used, well, that's what a fat quarter is. Okay, now the next piece is a fat eighth. Okay, and what that is, again, is your width of fabric. Yeah, and it's cut the 1/4 inch. 9 inches is a 1/4 of a yard, and then it's cut 22 inches. It's cut in half. This one's a little bit bigger because I just happened to grab a scrap and I really didn't want to cut it up. But it's going to be 9 inches by 21, 22. It's going to be that half. That's your fat eighths or fat eighth. Again, it's still a nice piece of fabric. Cut strips. You can cut lots of things out of it. We use a lot of it in kits and projects when you only need to have certain amount, sizes. Then the next one that you'll see is a fat 16th. So when you see the second number, fat means it's cut wider and shorter. 16 means that there's 16 pieces that can come out of a yard of fabric. So again, your fat 16th is going to be 9 inches by 11, because you're going to take that 9-inch quarter yard, cut it with the fabric, and then it gets cut into 4 pieces. So it comes out 9 by 11, just like a 9 by 11 piece of paper. Lots of things that we do with that. Now sometimes you see where they're asking for scraps when you're doing applique. You just need small pieces, scraps. Scraps are generally 5-inch pieces of fabric. If it says scrap, 5-inch square is big enough. 5-inch is also what comes in charm packs, where you get a pack, and we'll talk about those another day. Because I didn't pull them out, but there's jelly rolls, there's layer cakes, there's lots of different pre-cuts, there's charm packs, and then there's mini charms that are 2.5-inch squares. Oh, wait a minute. This is a charm pack. You can do lots of stuff with it. A charm pack, a pack, and there's 42 of them in a pack, and a yard of fabric makes a beautiful table runner or 2. So you can do that. So if these were cut in 4ths, then you would have a mini charm. Would be the same thing, but they would be 2.5-inch squares. So just to give you a little bit of information, you're new, you go into a quilt shop and it's like a kid in a candy store, but you can also start to I know the first time I had to pick fabrics out for a sampler quilt, I walked in and I almost had a panic attack in the middle of the fabric store, because I saw all of these fabrics and all of these prints, and I was supposed to pick stuff out, and I had this little voice in my ear telling me, and it was my mother telling me, you don't wear stripes and plaids. So if you grow up trying to match your clothes, you don't wear stripes and plaids, then you go into a quilt store where anything goes. Big prints, little prints, and they all come out beautiful. Well, I had to learn my way around and be able to pick and find things, and we'll work on that. That'll be another one of our topics. Okay, so I'm going to flip you over here to the cutting table, because I want to talk to you about a couple things. And this is a couple things that you're going to want. This is just a piece of fabric that from one of our packages. This is about a 1/2 yard, because it's actually about 1/3 of a yard. But this is the width of fabric, okay, from edge to edge. I've got 2 salvages, but I got this piece of fabric and I want to cut it to make some blocks or strips or whatever I'm doing. But look at it, it's crooked, and look, it's not even. And you get fabric like that. It'll come, and first thing we need to do is we need to make a cleansing cut, because if you want good straight cuts, whether you're cutting it in whatever size, whether squares, triangles, strips, we're going to start out with strips, you need to have a good clean cut. And even when I look at this edge, that's straighter, but still not, I could lay it over this way and straighten this edge out. So what you want to do is you want to have a nice size cutting mat on your table. Now this is kind of a super size one, and whatever size you have. If you've got an 18 by 36, you don't have one that's this big, you can take your fabric. You've got a nice fold here. You've evened up your salvages. Press them. Go to your iron. I know we don't like to iron clothes, but when it comes to fabric, I love to press my fabric. Line up your salvage edges. Little bit of best press, a little bit of spray starch, nothing too heavy. Press it. Once you've got it pressed, then you can take and fold if you need to, you can fold this edge up to the top. Now I've got a nice straight edge. I'm going to bring one of these edges, the edge down, so that it goes across my cutting mat, the line on my mat. So just like working with a T-square, if you ever work with wood or anything else, we want to square up our fabric. So if this piece is nice and flat, ideally if you can lay it out like this, you're better off. So we'll straighten this one out. Okay, we're going to use the big one, but you can fold it if you need to. You can use a smaller ruler, but the best thing to have is when you get started, if you can do at least an 18 by 24, I think it is, cutting mat. You want to make sure you've got a nice ruler, 6 or 6.5. They come in different sizes. This is a 6 by 24, pretty well standard. And then of course I do have a smaller one. I use that a lot. And a good rotary cutter. You can get all different kinds. This is a 44 millimeter. This is a 60 millimeter. These are nice and heavy. They're the ones from Quilter Select. I love them because they're ambidextrous. Right hand, left hand, same one. It's hard to find left-handed tools sometimes. If you don't have one like this, whatever you have, make sure you've got a nice sharp blade. Make sure you keep it closed when you're not using it. Don't leave it lay open on your table. It's easy for somebody to grab it and cut themselves. We don't want that to happen. So I'm going to move this over a little bit. I've got my bottom line lined up straight with the bottom of my table. Now I want to look and make sure that my edges, they're not going to be even. We're going to fix that. We're going to even it up. But I want to make sure that I can get a good straight cut. So I can move it over a little bit. And this actually goes like this. So I can tell both edges are over this line right here. It just happens to be the 38th, the place that I've got it on there. Then we're going to take our ruler, and this is the proper way to use your ruler. Now if you're left-handed, you can do it on the opposite side. You want to keep your hands out of the way. We're going to take this end off, but we're going to cut on this side. So what I'm doing is I've got one line on my ruler, follows across the line on my fabric. The other line on my ruler is going to follow up with the line on my cutting mat. Okay, that way I've got a nice straight cut to start, called a cleansing cut. If you want to make sure your hand is out of the way. You do not want your hand anywhere near where you're cutting. It's too easy to slip and slide and cut your finger, and then you're getting stitches. So if you put your hand out here, and we do have rulers that have coating on them, such as like this one, our Quilter Select. I just don't have one here, but it's got a coating so it doesn't slide. We also have little tabs that you can, sticky things you can stick on to keep the ruler from sliding. There's, I like to use my Quilter Select, this little button right here that holds it in place and kind of gives me a little bit of extra grip. The other thing is to take your finger, your little finger, and put it over to the edge on your table. That way, if you've got it on the edge of your ruler and on the table, it's less likely to slide. We also have spray stuff that you can spray on the back of these to make them so that they don't slide. So, got it all lined up. Going to make my cleansing cut. Open my ruler, my rotary cutter, and just run the blade right down the edge of the ruler. Now this one, when I'm done, if I tap it, now it's closed. All I have done is cut this piece off right here. Now I have a perfectly straight edge. This edge is still crooked, that's okay, but a perfectly straight edge that I can start cutting whatever I need. If I'm cutting 1-inch strips, 2, 2.5, 3, 6, whatever I'm cutting. So you always want to take that piece of fabric and make a nice cleansing cut. Okay, So that's a pretty simple thing, but it is something that you need to do with with your fabric. Always test it, even if it comes from the shop. I do my best to cut them straight for you, but I still lay it down and check to make sure. Now, some people ask, should I wash my fabric? Okay, should I wash it before? That's entirely up to you. But if you're going to wash your fabric before you start making a quilt, wash all of the fabric you're going to be using. Okay? But when you wash it, guess what it does? It washes out the sizing that's in the fabric. It washes out the starch. So guess what you're going to have to do? Go back and starch it. Okay? So that's our basic. So we're going to be doing lots of other talking on, pressing seams and nesting seams and other tips to help you. But that's kind of basic place to start. I do want to share with you. I do have a. We're also going to be sharing with you. We've got a bunch of different quilt kits, things that we've cut up, and kits and stuff that are put together. Some are really easy. Some use panels and things, and this is one of them. This is one that I did this summer. It works with a panel in the middle. We've got them on the website. There's a panel in the middle. There's a strip of fabric. There's a couple little borders, and then there's a few little blocks on the bottom, little snail blocks. So if you want to make a quilt that's a little bit bigger, you don't have the time, you're new, we've got some really easy quilts, kits and stuff with patterns that you can pick up and be able to make and have done pretty quick. Okay, so wanted to share that. I got one more thing. This is the All Things Jolly that I was talking about. Now, we'll talk about this probably later on in the week, but if you were in the event, or if not, if you're new to Hoop Sisters and you've bought a pattern and you've got the battleizer and you don't know what to do and how to get started, well, you can sign up, and I'm working on getting that up on the calendar. If you did buy this, I had a couple people that bought it and said, oh, are you going to make kits? Well, no. But don't be disappointed. I know, I love this All Things Jolly. I just fell in love with it. Don't be stressed out and disappointed, because if you call, you can FaceTime with me and I will help you pick out your fabrics to customize it. Okay? It's so I will help you and to get the fabrics, because maybe blue is not your favorite color. Maybe you like green, maybe pink, maybe purple, and you would like to have different colors in this. We'll be happy. It is a good stash buster, which is kind of what I did. I busted my stash, and I'm always going to have blue in there. And I found, this is a great one for solids, because that's just a solid green. I did throw in, and I used some of the R&K foils to do my ornaments. I use lots of the King Star metallic thread, so I could talk to you and share and show you that. But you can be able to go into your stash. The main thing that I think you needed was red, green, and white. You need your background. So if you need help, I will be happy to help you, but I'm hoping that everybody will make their All Things Jolly All Things Jolly. Okay? So, I hope you found this helpful today. Guys, go, and if you've got questions, let me know. We're going to continue on. I'm going to see how that works this month. Always looking forward to your opinions on projects and stuff, and just little tips and hints. So this will go up on YouTube as well, so you'll be able to follow us on our YouTube channel and be able to refer back as often as you need. Okay, so make it a great afternoon. Go sew something, and I will catch you tomorrow, Wednesday, at 1 o'clock.